Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. We are back at it again. It's Monday morning. We got people jumping into the chat. We got Sam Peterson moderating, being awesome, as well as Umacorn and Lee, or Lay. Not sure how to say it. Let me know where you're coming from on this fine Monday morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. I'm real excited because we're gonna be doing a pretty fun challenge today. So come on in. If you're watching this on YouTube, come on over and watch it on Behance. That way we can engage in the chat. If you don't know what the XD Daily Creative Challenge is, or maybe you missed last week, that's okay. You can start now. Jump over to my screen and we'll take a look at behance.net/challenge/XD. Hit that big blue button to start the challenge and scroll down to get all of your starting files. There'll be a starting file each day and a new challenge released each day, Monday through Friday this week. It's going to be really awesome. We've done things like NFT websites and VPNs and e-commerce checkouts. We made a little Bluetooth barbecue application on Friday. And today, we're going to be doing a little bit of a membership pricing page, really focusing on components, nested components, and states. You want to make sure that you also join the community chat over there on Discord, like 36-something thousand creatives on the Adobe XD Discord. And that's where I'm going to be actually pulling all of the work when we do some portfolio and design work review at the end of this stream. Talking about design work, let's jump over to our starting file for the day and really quickly say hi to Chris Olson and the Adongo and Mihawk. And again, to Umacorn and the rest of the crew. Tomas is in the house throwing a little emoji. He says, and the Adongo says it's midnight here in Nairobi. Man, oh man, the dedication from the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge crew. In your starting file, a little bit of a prompt, do a little membership page that features pricing tables, pretty common design pattern you'll see. But what we really want to do is we want to toggle the monthly versus the annual costs, and I want to see everything toggle when that happens. I've got a couple inspirations here and some resources down below, but I also have a starting file for you. And in that starting file, there is a decent amount of work done already on our artboard, right? So we are using a 1366 by 1175 artboard. It could be longer if you want. This is probably going to work for us. We have a few elements here already. We have a big like kind of hero like headline area. We got this whole nav or this top area that's starting to form, and our headline should probably be inside of that if I'm going to be really honest. Let's just move myself over to the other side there. But we also have these gallery images and we have our navigation. So what I'm thinking is I want to have this awesome kind of collage of fitness images, and then we're going to do a little bit of work on maybe a little glass morphism, doing a little object blur or background blur kind of thing. So let's have a little fun with that first, shall we? I think the first thing we should probably do is let's take these gallery images. You'll see one of them's an oval, the other two are circles. Let's group them together, and then let's turn on our stack. It'll be a vertical stack right there. And what's great about that is, we'll just move this out of the way for the time being. If we take and we'll name this thing column, like so, and we just duplicate, maybe something like 46 pixels away. Well, then we can come in here and switch where these are. And I'm actually going to hold down shift, because as you move things around the stack, you can actually kind of freeform move them around in the other direction. But if you hold down shift, it's going to keep it locked into that little lane, right? So let's just move these around and let's just duplicate both of these now. Nice spacing we got going on here. All right, so far so good. And we don't want to have the same repeating ones. Don't you worry, we're going to have something. We'll do something for that, okay? What we're gonna do is just come in and start selecting all of our images. And we'd probably have to do this piece by piece, but what we'll do is bring out a plugin that I really like. Let's go to our plugin menu here, and let's hit where did our go? Photo Splash, right? So we'll head into our Photo Splash plugin, and we'll just type in the word fitness like this. I already actually brought it up. And when we do that, it selects however many images as I have selected on my artboard. And I'm just going to apply those. Okay, let's just do the same. We'll grab 3 more, and I don't know. Let's see. Cancel that. I don't know what happened there. Let's go with this one, and this one. We'll apply those. Love it. And we'll just keep doing this and applying some new fun fitness images, right? All across our little collage here. Boom. Keep going. Keep up the good work here with the fitness. Lots of good images in there. And you know what? We could probably, because we're not going to see the first 3 or so, we could probably just duplicate these. That'll be all right. And all we have to do is just mess with our just kind of play with our collage. So we kind of built this fun collage thing back here. That's pretty cool. Let's go back and hit Command or Control Y to bring our layers panel up. Now you can see all of our columns in here. I'm just going to group those together. I'm going to call that our grid like so, and I'm going to lock it. Okay. Now we have our headline on top, but let's do that kind of like glass morphism kind of look, or it's basically just an object or background blur. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle and draw a nice kind of panel here. Something like that. We'll call this our glass in our layers panel. We want our headline to be able to actually go over it. And we actually want our navigation to go over it as well. We want to be able to see all that. So let's just line these up, kind of keeping with a little bit of an alignment there. And now we're going to take our image, okay, or our rectangle that we've drawn. Let's remove this border really quickly so it's just the white. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select not background blur, object, not object blur, but background blur. It's going to give us a little bit of that glass effect. And at this point now we can just kind of manipulate these settings, these dials, to get it to the liking that we want, really, right? Blur amount, you have brightness, and you have effect opacity. So let's actually blur this thing out a lot. I'm going to bring the lightness up a little bit, kind of foggy light kind of glass, and then we can play with this one a little bit. So we just get a little bit of that blur effect. I like it. I dig it. I'm into it. It's a lot of fun. We're going to need to make this thing pop probably just a little bit more. So why don't we bring like a fun, like almost like a hand-drawn element into this piece. I'm just going to hit P for pen tool. And I'm just going to do what looks like kind of like a big marker kind of thing. A messy marker kind of line that we've created there. And I'm going to open up my assets. I have that green selected in my assets panel. I'm going to right click on it and say apply to border color. When I do that, it applies it perfectly. And then I can bump this little marker drawing up here. Okay. So I'm going to head back to my layers, bring it behind. And again, you could play with this glass a little bit more. It works for us a little bit, right? I wish maybe I could get it a little bit more on the darker side actually. Or does it need to be more on the lighter side? Ooh, man, I could play with this for hours. I'm not gonna mess with this too much, but it's okay for our use case. All right, so let's bring our headline down a little bit. And this is where I think we probably need to do the toggling. Okay, so I'm gonna build our first component, and that's gonna be a toggle. So I'm gonna hit R for rectangle and just drag this out, line it up there. It's gonna be a nice big chunky toggle button. And I'm going to, whoop, you saw it, just kind of pull my little corners in, little border radius, add that there. I'm just gonna Command C or Control, depending on your operating system, V, paste another one. And this time I'm gonna create our actual button. So let's go back to our colors, apply this to the fill. Now the reason I keep using that instead of using the color palette or the swatches that are in here is because later on, if I decided this isn't really the color for me, I actually want to edit this color and I chose a different color, it's going to change it everywhere that I've used that. So that's why I'm doing it that way, right? So we can later on down the road work a little bit smarter, not harder. Chris Olson says, hey, right back to you. Hey, how you doing? Corn says, oh, new plugin, Photosplash 2. It's a fun plugin. You got to play with it. It's just, for me, it's one of my favorite photo plugins. I really dig it. It makes it really, really easy. Okay, let's keep making our toggle button here. I'm just going to steal a little bit of text from inside our navigation, and I'm going to paste right in here. Let's make this yearly. That's not how you spell yearly. That's how you spell yearly. And then the other one over here, the other option will be monthly. Okay. Now we probably need to just lighten this up. So I'm going to, instead of changing color, I'm going to keep it that same color and I'm going to bring the opacity down. Okay. And you'll see why here in a second. Let's just make sure our toggle switch, everything's kind of lined up nicely there. Okay. With all of these elements, I'm going to go back to my layers and let's get our toggle background there. And we'll call this one our switch. I just like to name my layers. I like to keep things clean. With that being said, I'm going to turn this into a component. So I didn't actually have to group things first. You don't have to do that. I prefer just to grab the elements knowing I'm going to turn it into a component and then turn it into a component with all the loose elements. That way, when I later on, when I go into an instance of it, I don't have to click into the component and then into a group. It's just all grouped already via the component. Okay. So I'm going to name this thing my toggle like so. and we're gonna just do a new state. So let's go up here, and I love it in Adobe XD. We have, you can always create a new state, but we have some baked in options for a hover and also a toggle state. Our little lightning bolt tells us it's gonna wire it up for us immediately, okay? So we can rename that if we want to. Let's say by default it's yearly. Okay, let's call this monthly over here. Okay, so again, with the component state selected we wanna work on, that's gonna be monthly. We're gonna slide our little switch over, okay? And woo, there it is. We're gonna grab our text. It's at 24 pixels, so we're gonna slide it up, or 24%, excuse me, and slide the other one down to 24%, okay? Now we can click off of it, go back to the default state. When we press play, immediately we have a toggle that's like built in, which is super duper nice. Now we made one mistake. We didn't line the word monthly up in there very nicely. We really didn't. So to kind of fix that, let's just go back to monthly. Align these bad boys. Okay, how far away is this? 36 from the side. So let's just make sure that this one also. Now you could leave it. If you leave it, you might get a little motion out of the word monthly, but it looks a little broken in my opinion. So we are going to just make sure this is also 36 pixels from the side, just like that. All right, now it baked in the prototype and the animation, the auto animate for us, but maybe we want to kind of mess with it. We can go back to prototype mode and click on that tap trigger. It's ease out. I think let's go for a little snap. Let's do a little snappage, shall we? Boom, just like so. Now we get a little whoop, a nice fun little snappage. I like it. Okay, so we have our first toggle or our first component with multiple states inside of it built. We're just gonna go now really fast and build a couple of your pricing cards, your traditional pricing cards. With our button here, we'd probably want to turn this into a button, definitely. So we have button here. Let's just really quickly release this from the group that it's in, and instead we will turn this into Command or Control K. We'll turn it into a component. We'll call that component button. Why don't we give it a new state? So the default is that outlined. Why don't we give this a filled state? You can use component states not only for animation, but also to start building out mini pattern libraries and design systems, right? So that we have variation of our components. So for instance, in my filled state, I'm gonna want, you guessed it, I'm gonna want my button to be filled and my text now probably to be like a darker color. So let's give it the darker color. All right, easy. So now we have two options here, okay? And with that being said, we can drag an instance out. Let's just open up our layers. Let's get into our navigation here, and let's chuck a button into our navigation. We'll line the whole thing up nicely. Boom. Just like that. We'll say try it for free. Okay, try not or try it. Try it for free. Okay, that's what we want to say, not try not. Okay, with that being said, we can tuck away all of our top stuff. We're not messing with that anymore, okay? We have our button, and we have all of our text stuff down here. Let's build a little bit of a pricing card. It's already kind of laid out for us. We have the name of the plan, okay? Well, it's currently showing annual. We're gonna have to mess with that here in a second, right? And we may or may not have time to get all of the components and states, because if you really wanted to do this, you could do it one of two ways. What am I talking about here? When I hit yearly, boom, I want to see all of these elements switch. I want to see every single one of them switch because it's all connected. We could either, like right now, make the whole thing one big component and then do all the switching, or we could create individual components like we've done already with our toggle switch and our button, and then we can use those inside of that nested component, which is kind of the direction I'm going for. It just serves better for scalability in my opinion, okay? So starter plan, let's see, it's build $19 a month. Okay, that sounds great. Let's group that together. We'll call that price. I'll tell you what, let's just, so far, I like all three of these things. I'm gonna group them together and put them in a stack because I am just a fan of stacks. I'm gonna maybe mess with it, play with that a little bit. Let's go 4 pixels away from there. All right, I like this a little bit. All right, we're having fun so far. And then what we probably want to do is we want to have multiples of these. So we have, again, our little check mark. Let's make a component out of that. Why not? And then let's grab these two elements and line them up. And let's see, what's our text? Our text should auto expand, shouldn't it? And it's already doing that. Perfect. So let's grab these two. and let's group them together, put them in a stack. Okay, so we now are controlling the padding and everything, the internal padding. Let's hit Command or Control K and turn this into a value proposition, all right, an offering, so to speak. And then we have our button underneath it. Okay, with that being said, we should be able to duplicate a few of these out here. Let's go 28 pixels in between and duplicate another one. And let's say for your first one, that's all you get. That's all you're getting here, folks. You're just getting 3 options, and this all looks really good. So I'm gonna grab everything we have so far, group it together, okay? And I'm gonna call this a price card. It's not actually in a card, but it is kind of acting like a card. I have a fun idea. Let's bump this over a little bit and just do a fun like rectangle here. Let's get a little bit asymmetrical, right? Nothing wrong with a little asymmetry, just for funsies. I'm gonna drop our fun kind of color in here. That's kind of like a little bit more of a fun layout, right? Plus we have a lot of room to work on like our 3 plans. Let's say we were actually just having 3 plans. This is plenty of room, okay? Okay. With that being said, there's one thing I think this price card needs, and that's probably like a line inside of it, okay? So why don't we hit L for line, and I'm just gonna drag a line out to kind of separate them from each other. Love that. And let's just take this line all the way to the top, and I don't know, we'll take them all the way down to the bottom. That's fine. Okay, so now we do have kind of this card-esque looking kind of design that we're making here, and it's our price card. We probably want to turn it into a component, right? And we want to have monthly, yearly. Okay, so again, component, the default state is yearly, okay, because it's being billed annually, and we're gonna need to we're gonna have to do something fancy here. Ready? We're going to because it's in a stack, right? We might have to release this from our stack. We might have to surrender our stack. Okay, so this is gonna say build annually, and we're using the terminology yearly. So let's just be really consistent in our design, yearly, and then this one's gonna say build monthly. Okay, monthly like that. Beautiful. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hide monthly right off the bat. Okay. I don't care what these say. You could fix all those and fill those in later on in your own time. But we're also going to need to change the time. Now, we could just change the number. We could totally just change the number, but that wouldn't really be fancy, would it? That wouldn't really be fancy. We can be a little fancier than that. Okay, so this is price. We'll call this price build per month, right? So price, I'm going to put price here. Boom. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to put it over here. And when we buy it monthly, it's got to be more. It costs more, right? $24 a month for that. Okay, this one is price year, and this one is going to be price month. Let's do this. We might have time to get one of these things working today. And again, we're going to take the opacity of it down. Okay, now all the elements we need are inside that initial component that we've made, right? And inside of the state. So let's get our price card here. Let's make our new state. And our new state is going to be called monthly. What are we going to do? You know what we're going to do. We're going to swoop things into place, right? So we're going to bring this. Oh, what's the opacity on this? 50. We're going to bring it up to 50. Like that. Bring it into place. Bring this down and bring the opacity out. Same thing here. Okay, we're going to bring monthly in, line up that $sign so it matches perfectly, bring yearly out, the annual pricing out like that. Okay, you're like, yikes, what is happening, Jesse? You will see. Now when we switch back and forth, we'll see these little pieces auto animate to and fro. Okay, now with that being said, let's just, like I said, we don't have time, so let's just drag a few more of these out. Okay. Boom. Something like that. I'm lining my card up at the very right-hand edge. It's a little tricky. It's a little sticky, but let's just distribute those nicely. They play nicely. Perfect. Okay. And now we're going to take the whole thing and turn it into a component. And when we when we select one thing, all these components are going to switch over. Hopefully, that's what we hope. Okay, so this is kind of a fun deal here. Okay, so we're going to take our pricing cards, everything. Our rectangle is there. Let's just shove that in the bottom. That's just for decoration, no problem. Unlock all the things we need. Beautiful. Take it all. We're going to take it all, and we are going to Command K, turn into a component. Now, we're having a little bit of trouble here. What happened? I missed my bottom. That's what happened because that's locked. Let's try that again. If you have something locked and you try to select everything and move or turn things into components, it's going, not that one, because you locked it, Jesse. So let's try again. Boom. Do the whole thing. Okay. We're going to call this component switcher, just like that. Switcheroony. Now let's go over to prototype. We'll say, hey, when we do this, okay, now our switcher is kind of set. Let's go inside and we'll just do, we'll draw a tap point inside of here, okay? That's what we need to do. Is let's go back to design really quickly. I'm gonna draw an invisible tap point. It's invisible, but it's there, it's tappable. Let's put it inside. Going to just, whoop, pop it in right there. There's our tap. Our trigger is right there, okay? Now we should be able to go back and prototype, select that invisible tappable trigger, okay? When I press, but while we have our switcher, we need to create our new component, okay? So this is, let's make the whole thing a toggle, okay? We're gonna toggle over to monthly, like this, okay? What does monthly look like? Well, I'll tell you what monthly looks like. It looks like our toggle getting switched over to monthly, and it looks like each of our cards, hopefully, well, we're doing it the wrong way. It's going from monthly to yearly, but that's fine. That's fine. You get the point. It looks like that, okay? Beautiful. Okay, so let's go back to prototype mode, select that invisible tap trigger, and we'll say on tap, auto animate to what? To the default state, okay? With a little bit of snappage, okay? And beautiful. Let's go back and say, now let's go back to the default state. When we are tapping here, we are auto animating to the monthly state. With all that being said, we should be able to press play, tap, and see everything switch. Now, again, you can change. It's working. It's working. It's working exactly like the way that we want it to. I'm really, really impressed. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it to work. So you can change each one of these price cards to have different variations, right? You can have some variation in the price, but it's a fun interaction to say like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I dig it. I'm into it. Maybe I want to try the other one and see everything switch. We could even do rolling numbers, right? Like a counting number ticker. That could be super fun. But again, we're now doing nested components. Let's just do last little thing inside. If we can, go back to design. And let's choose our button inside of this one. Let's just go default state inside of here. Beautiful. And we'll make this one say best price. Okay, just so there's a little bit of variation. But you get the point. So far, we're working just the way we need it to. It's swapping and toggling just like we want to. That's a lot of fun. All right, with that being said, let's jump over and take a look at some of the beautiful work that was submitted inside of the Discord from last week's challenges. Okay, we had little bit of some login stuff happening. Ooh, let's check this one out from Grayson. Go full screen with this bad boy. Nice swipage. Oh, I love those input fields. That is such a smooth way to do it. And I actually really like the icons on the far right hand side. That's a sweet way to do that. Pay button, probably, yes, love that. Can we watch that again? Those are really nice input forms. Got that slider, helper text appears. This animation everyone's starting to do with the sliding over cursor. Oh, that's so golden. Great job. Great job on that piece of work. Let's keep going up and seeing what else. Here's our little NFT project we had. This is from Juthamus, saying doesn't have a lot of experience. Looking pretty fly though, Juthamus. I would just say watch out, red input fields. It feels like an error, but I love the artwork you're doing there. I think you are honing those skills, my friend. Sellenbung has got some stuff on Behance for us to look at. Gonna check that out. We got a few more minutes. This one is from Origami Ninja. Come on, let's go with it. Love it, love it. Everything. Dark interfaces are hard. Watch these form fields so that we're still able to see them. We know that they're form fields or inputs, and draw the correct attention to them by using a little bit of contrast. Here's another one, a good one by Tomas, who I think is in the chat. Tomas, what's up? What's up? We're about to look at your work. Let's check it out. This one is Tomas Zielonka's barbecue application. Looks really cool. Love this kind of like neomorphism, kind of like direction you headed with it. The controls got that old school kind of like metal, like radial gradient, kind of making things look like chrome. Let's check it out. Oh, go back. You stop with those cool animated icons right now. I love them so much. This is a fun project. I dig it. I think we're gonna have to start doing maybe like a little bit of a neomorphic kind of challenge. Love the counter. Can we just see that changing icon right here again? That was fun. Oh, I like it. I like the style. Love it. It looks really cool. It looks like something that you might actually find, right? Like, it looks really fun. Let's look at this one by Ilham Anugrah, and this is a little bit of that cooking timer. I like the take on the timer, like selector. It's a little bit more of that Google material design style, kind of selecting. These are beautiful. Everything looks fantastic. And with that being said, folks, we're out of time for the day. I hope you enjoyed the challenge. If you did, follow me on social media. You can find some more stuff like that. Maybe I'll be back on another Adobe Daily Creative Challenge, but I cannot wait to jump in the Discord, see your work. Make sure you post it in there and on Behance. We'll be right back tomorrow for another Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. We'll see you then.